Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 Western Dead for a Dollar, a film that is directed by the legendary Walter Hill, and it stars Christoph Waltz, Willem Dafoe, Rachel Brosnahan, Hamish Linklater and Benjamin Bratt. Now, the film focuses on Christoph Waltz's character, who is a famous bounty hunter who has got something of a rivalry with Willem Dafoe's character, Joe Cribbins, who is a criminal that he put behind bars. He is released from prison and vows revenge against Christoph Waltz's character. However, Christoph Waltz's bounty hunter is hired by a guy called Martin Kidd, a rich rancher, to get his wife back, who he claims has been kidnapped and taken against her will. So he's off to try and... So the Christoph Waltz character, is the bounty hunter, is off to try and bring back his wife. Along the way, he learns some untruths and comes into direct conflict, not only with Willem Dafoe's character, but also a local Mexican gangster played by Benjamin Bratt. Right, what are my thoughts on Dead for a Dollar? Well, the first thing I want to say is Walter Hill. Brilliant. I haven't seen a Walter Hill film, certainly for a while. I'm not sure what the last film he directed was. And I'm just looking now, it's a 2016 film called Tomboy. But he's not nearly been as proficient this last couple of decades as he was in the 80s and the 90s. He's made some of the most impressive action films. He's got a very distinct style, Walter Hill, very gritty action films. So I was quite looking forward to checking this one out. I saw the trailer a couple of months ago. And to be honest, as soon as you see that cast of Christoph Waltz, Willem Dafoe, you're kind of like, oh, I want to see this. I mean, Christoph Waltz was absolutely dynamic in Django Unchained. I mean, he was fabulous, arguably better than he was in Inglourious Basterds, and that's a debate to be had, I know. But he was wonderful, so I was really happy to see him in another Western, and I'm always happy to see Willem Dafoe on screen. Now, I think it would be fair to say that I had a tinge of disappointment after watching this film. While it is very watchable, there's a distinct air of quality about the film, a real sense of confidence and certainty from the director in how it's been made. Lots of polish, feels very realistic, good performances. There's a real lack of energy in this film and a real lack of excitement at times that I think kind of weighs this film down a little bit. And I have to say, two massively powerful and incredibly talented actors like Christoph Waltz and Willem Dafoe are given surprisingly little to do here. I have to say I was a little bit disappointed, not necessarily by their performances, but their characters. They aren't nearly well fleshed out or particularly well written. I mean, Christoph Waltz's character is basically just a bounty hunter, which, you know, when you compare it to the bounty hunter he played in Django, it's night and day, really. He's a distinct lack of personality. And they're both quite reserved performances by both of them. And I think, I don't know, there's just a real lack of energy in the film and in their performances and in everybody's performances overall that kind of, like I said, do weigh this film down a little bit, which is a bit of a disappointment, I'm not going to lie. And I also thought there was a real lack of chemistry between the cast. And again, I don't know if that is an after effect of the things I've mentioned, you know, the lack of energy and this kind of stuff. But you would think having Willem Dafoe and Christoph Waltz on screen together, and even though they don't share the screen a lot here, most of the film, you see them meet up at the beginning, and then there's supposed to be kind of this build-up to this kind of face-off, which you'd never really get. But every time they share the screen, you expect there to be fireworks, because it's Willem Dafoe and Christoph Waltz, for goodness sake. And again, there isn't. So there is a distinct... There's just something... feels like there's something missing from this film, which is a shame, but it's a really nicely made Western. with some good moments in it, some surprising moments. Most of the characters get moments to shine. There's some good shootouts here and there, and it certainly keeps you interested. It keeps you engaged. And it's not one of those films where you certainly don't feel bored watching it, put it that way, even though there are some pacing issues here and there. There's always kind of somebody or something there to kind of keep you interested from scene to scene sort of thing, even if it's not the most engaging and exciting scenes you will ever see. So, yeah, this one is certainly not what I would describe as one of Walter Hill's best. It almost feels like it's a little bit rusty, which isn't a surprise, I suppose. But it just doesn't have that spark and energy that you get with a lot of Walter Hill films that I've certainly seen in the past, and that real tough, grounded, gritty approach to action, hard-hitting sort of stuff. And there was also as well, and I really do think this film could have used a little bit of this, a distinct lack of humour. This film really did need, I think, a lightness to it. It all feels very serious. And don't get me wrong, there are some serious subject matters here in this film, but it just felt too seriously. It feels like it took itself a little bit too seriously. It's a Western, for goodness sake. Have a little bit of fun with it. And I don't necessarily think the cast here had fun with it, and I'm not even sure the director had a lot of fun with it. It almost felt like it was a chore for everybody. But underneath all those criticisms, there is a well-made Western here that fits nicely into the genre, and I think does a particularly good job here and there. It's just, like I say, it doesn't spark. It's not particularly memorable, which is why I've given it a 6 out of 10. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you very much for watching. I will, of course, be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.